Should you bulk or should you cut? We're going to answer that here today, final, and you're going to have no questions left, hopefully. And the first thing I'm going to do is tell you why I feel like you should listen to me. So I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I'm going to chuck up some images here or there where you can see I've been at various stages of my fitness career or my journey as a natural bodybuilder, where I've bulked up, cut down, and I've gone through so many of these cycles, and I've now been doing this for over 15 years. I have a lot of experience, and so lots of lessons, lots of mistakes that I then translate to you guys right here and now. In addition to that, not only have I been doing it myself personally for over 15 years, I have coached people one-on-one for over 10 years and worked with hundreds of clients successfully, allowing them to maximize their growth, whether or not in a mass phase or a cut phase. And finally, not only do I have the personal experience myself with myself and clients, but I also have spoken to over 400 experts on my podcast for hours with this sort of question in mind of how do we maximize physique progress. So I feel like I have a lot to provide you guys from general expertise, doing it myself and also learning from others. I have the experience, knowledge, and importantly have made the mistakes, rectified those, and then got amazing results with clients, and I think with myself. To me, the answer to whether or not you should bulk or cut comes down to 3 main rules, and each rule gives you basically the answer of you should cut, bulk, or maybe something else. So the first rule is, are you lean enough to bulk? And how do you assess whether or not you're lean enough? And the answer to that, to me, is where are you in terms of your body fat sweet spot? I'll term that body fat sweet spot, and there is a scientific term, and that is your upper and lower intervention points. These are kind of biological points of which your body is, when within those points, happy. It's at homeostasis to some extent, where it's happy to be gaining, losing weight, all those good things. You can perform well in the gym, you feel good, all of that is groovy. So where are you in relation? Are you within this body fat sweet spot? Are you high, low? Where are you on it? What I will say is, again, from personal experience, most people have a lower end of body fat, and if they go below that, everything starts turning for the worst, and they're not in a good position to continue dieting. But the upper end is less of a ceiling and more of like a grate that you can seep through quite easily. So I will say I think an hard upper end is appropriate here. And for guys, that's going to be around a 20% body fat. For women, that's going to be closer to like 27% body fat. Now, I don't think you need to go and test your body fat. You can simply just say you have no muscle separation, you're quote unquote soft, and let's term that thick. Once you're at that, you're kind of thick, right? That's your upper end. And then lower end, for most males, again, they're going to have lots of muscle separation, maybe even a slight striation to some muscles. Again, women are going to be somewhat similar. And you're lean, like pretty considerably lean, very much beach lean. And that's going to be your average, but it's going to differ person to person. Some people might have to get a bit softer, a bit heavier than others. And similarly, some people might want to stay a bit leaner. And that's why it's your body fat sweet spot. So the answer there was, if you're at the lower end of your body fat sweet spot, you've got room to grow. But if you're at the upper end, then you probably want to consider to diet very soon, so you have productive gaining time to be had. Now, rule number 2 is, are you ready to cut though? And what I mean by that is physically and mentally ready. So you don't want to start dieting if you're already diet fatigued. And you could be not that lean and still suffering from diet fatigue if you've always been slightly overweight and continuously going for dieting phases. You want to recover that before you get into a cut, because otherwise that's like starting a journey on empty. You're just going to get nowhere. It's not going to be successful. What is diet fatigue? Now, diet fatigue for me are things like, how's your energy levels? If they're day-to-day low, that's not great. How is your mood? If day-to-day your mood is low, again, not a great sign. Obviously, these could be influenced from other things, but still, you probably don't want to be dieting if these things are in place. How's your libido? Is that low, non-existent? Probably not a great thing to be doing. How's your hunger? If that's really high, not a great idea to diet. And then how's your food focus? Are you thinking about when's my next meal? All those sort of factors regularly. Not a great time to be dieting. You're holding on to diet fatigue. We need to get rid of that before we start on that journey of dieting again. And again, those signs can all be signs that you're also below your lower end body fat sweet spot. So take that into mind as well. The other, in addition to this, is injury. So if you're injured, you obviously don't want to start dieting, because if you're injured and you can't train a certain muscle, you can't provide it a stimulus to stick around. If you don't use it, you'll lose it, kind of principle here. So you don't want to start dieting then. You want to get rid of that injury first. And then high stress. So if you're going through, I don't know, an exam period, or you're having your first child come into the world, whatever it might be, a busy time at work, it's peak, and your sleep isn't very good, you need to take care of stress first. And essentially, you want to start a diet always from a place of strength. And if you aren't feeling strong from a physical and mental perspective, do not expect a diet to be successful, and please don't, because you're just adding stress on top. Rule number 3. So what do you do if 1, you're not lean enough to mass, but 2, you're not in a position to diet yet? You're left with a third option, which is recomping. And that is kind of that unicorn of trying to gain muscle and lose fat simultaneously. Very challenging, because they're almost opposites for what the body wants to do. Typically, a fat loss occurs in a position when you're in a calorie deficit. Muscle gain more easily occurs when you're in a calorie surplus. The key is more easily. You can still gain muscle during an energy deficit. You have to provide the energy elsewhere. And that's one of the things that helps with a recomp, is having excess body fat. And you're in a position generally that you're going to be there. If you're in the named position where I said you're not lean enough to mass just yet, you probably have excess body fat then, right? So that already helps. You have fuel on your physique that could go towards muscle gain. So that's a cool thing to hold on to. Secondly to that is if you're more novice, so you haven't been training that long, and or you've been training a while, but you haven't really done it very specifically for muscle growth. You haven't really, quote unquote, optimized things very well. Maybe you're getting a coach in your corner and you're going to cross every T and dot every I. You're going to work with Revive Stronger. We could recomp you, or we could even potentially get you muscle during your dieting phases. That is going to help. Or if you're coming back off a layoff, you've had some surgery or an injury, for example, you're in a position to recomp initially, because you're kind of potentially regaining lost muscle tissue there, which makes it way easier. However, if you are over fat, you can still recomp as a advanced lifter. So there is data to support that. It's just harder. The more novice you are, the more likely it's going to occur. It's kind of like it's on a gradient, for example. It's not like yes and no, it's like more or less likely. And essentially, if you're over fat but not ready to diet, you want to recomp until you're ready to diet. That would be my kind of sentiment here. So now we have a simple answer for you. If you're lean, bulk. If you're over fat and not diet fatigued, cut. And if you're over fat but diet fatigued, recomp, aim to essentially maintain until you're able to go into that diet, and then you can go through a mass afterwards. So hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully it's really simple. I didn't want to oversimplify, but I also didn't want to add a load of junk in here to make it complicated and risk people just not tuning in and watching. Like I said, I've gone through many of these cycles with myself and clients, spoken to a lot of people about it, and this has kind of solidified my answer to you guys right here. So if someone asks, you can send them this video. And if you're still unsure, or you want more guidance, you want someone to talk through these things with, you know where to hit us up. Revive Stronger, we're online coaches. Like I just said, I've been coaching for over 10 years, and we help people answer this question every day and move forward with their goals and their trajectory. That's always linked in the description. Otherwise, if you have any questions, or if there's anything you think I missed and you think, hey, you should add this, do let me know, because like I said, this was quite simple. I haven't overthought the question. It's something that I deal with every day. So yeah, leave a comment, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.